You are not lazy, unmotivated, or stuck. After years of living in survival mode, you are exhausted. There's a difference.
1 year ago. I'm doing an update on my 1 year anniversary after having surgery to remove an allegedly big fibroid tumor from my uterus. If you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan. I'm documenting my healing journey because I've been stuck in survival mode since pandemic times. I'm documenting this to inspire other people to heal themselves. We don't know the effects of long COVID. This was my experience being in a high stress environment, under a lot of stress, and the effects that it had on my body. As I mentioned, 1 year ago, I had surgery to remove the fibroid. And if you guys don't know what a fibroid is, it's an overgrowth of the uterine muscle tissue. There are several different types. I will show the type that I had because I had the worst kind. Of course I did. But it's a benign tumor that can cause pain, excessive bleeding, fullness in the abdomen or bloating, and painful intimacy. And women's health is not really taken seriously, which was also my experience with my journey with this. I had to wait 7 months after I got referred finally to the specialist for the surgery after confirming with ultrasound that that's what was going on. But the problems began much longer prior to that. I was under extreme stress during COVID. I was terrified in the beginning of 2020 because everything was so fast-paced and we were essential services. We couldn't go anywhere. We had to continue working throughout that time when everything was so unpredictable and so unprecedented of how to keep people safe, how to keep ourselves safe. I was having mental breakdowns at work. I was crying almost every day and I just did not feel like myself. And that is when I entered therapy. And I started to begin the really hard work on myself. Fast forward to once COVID was over, I celebrated with my grand trip, took my trip to Italy. However, on my trip and when I returned from the trip was when my symptoms worsened and really rapidly increased in intensity. The pain I experienced was excruciating and it was actually distracting me from my work. I was very uncomfortable and sometimes I even had to go home early just to take care of myself. Just to put into perspective, if you think of a regular period lasting about 3 to 7 days, and that's once per month that you go through that cycle, I only had 10 good days per month. The rest of the time I was bleeding, I was in excruciating pain, I was lethargic, and I couldn't really function. It really did take over my life. There are 2 significant times where I can think about how the pain just overtook everything. I was at a checkout line at Costco by myself, and you're in public, so you have to just pretend everything's okay, and all I wanted to do was drop to my knees because I was in such excruciating pain. And then the other time I was in public was at a wedding, and I just had to put on a brave face and present myself to this wedding when I was in the most amount of pain I've ever been in my entire life. I tried everything to cope with this pain too. I used heat, massage, I went back to my doctor and got prescription pain meds, but nothing touched the pain at all. I couldn't even work out because I would get dizzy and nauseous. And because I didn't have a lot of resources and wasn't super taken seriously with my condition, the specialist office wouldn't call me back. When I got the prescription meds from my family doctor, I literally said, "Can you write me a letter to the specialist? I'm at my wit's end." But in the meantime, I used some very unhealthy coping mechanisms. I drank, I overate, and I used CBD and THC in order to distract my brain from all the pain. Filling my belly actually pressed back against the pressure that I was feeling, so that's how that one helped. And of course, the other substances. There are substances. Don't have to explain that too much. However, during that time, I gained weight and I wasn't feeling good about myself because I couldn't exercise and I couldn't function. 1 year later, I'm still in therapy. My physical health has improved. I had to really work on the trauma that came from that experience because it was essentially 1 year of my life that got taken away from me. I had to break the cycle of thinking I was gonna get dizzy and nauseous from working out, thinking that intimacy was going to hurt. I haven't drank at all in 2024, and that's helped my bloating aspect, and my clothes are fitting much better now. So the physical part, I've taken care of. Now I'm tackling the mental part of it. I'm on anxiety meds, and not to say that I won't ever drink again, but it's like I want to be in a good spot mentally, physically, just so that I can function again. I was in survival mode for so long that I just need to learn how to cope and like relearn how to live essentially. And each day I'm growing stronger, I'm coming into myself, I'm protecting my peace and setting boundaries. All this to say, if you've ever not felt like you've been taken seriously, that you need to get a second opinion, ask more questions, advocate for yourself until you get the results that you want, because you're your #1 cheering squad. If you're not cheering for yourself, no one's gonna do the work for you. Advocate for yourself, get the help that you need, don't be afraid to ask for the help that you need. Keep working on yourself, you're not alone.